Hello and welcome to another episode of For the Love of Sports. My name is Michael Rasile, and this is the show where I get to talk about sports, I get to talk about business, and I get to talk about everything in between. Today, my incredible guest, I have Blake Godlove. He is the CEO of Etera Foods, bringing non-hemp derived CBD to the forefront of muscle recovery. Blake, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, good. Thank you so much, Michael, for having me on. I'm really excited for this.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you, of course, to our good friend Ross for setting this up. He always likes when I shout him out. So I try and do it in the beginning of the episode, just kind of check that box off as we can. But Blake, very excited to talk to you about your company, about food, about CBD, athletes, nutrition, the whole nine. But the first question I have for everybody on the For the Love of Sports podcast is, why do you love sports so much?
I don't know if it's sports exactly I love so much. I think it's what comes out of it. I think the camaraderie, ability to boost your teamwork ability, your teamwork skills, and perseverance that comes out of it. You know, when I grew up, I wasn't super into sports. I did jujitsu for 4 years, soccer for 2 weeks, and a little bit of tennis, but I was never the most athletic. And that's kind of how this entire, concept, all of Etera Foods came to be, was out of that, was out of not knowing about sports and sports nutrition. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, just all the results of it, everything that comes out of it rather than the sport itself.
Yeah, and that's a very common answer depending on which of the attributes you like the most, right? Teamwork, hard work, discipline,
Mhm.
failure, learning how to fail. You really don't do
Oh
that
yeah.
outside of, you're an entrepreneur now, you're a business owner. So good luck, crossing my fingers for you. But of course, there's going to be some
Thank you.
failures along the way if there hasn't already. So definitely excited to see you overcome those. So I guess, explain that a little bit more. Like what exactly do you mean by Etera Food has come from this, the derivatives of sports and not knowing? What exactly do you mean by that?
So the afterbar, the concept behind it started out because I was eating all of these really chalky, grainy protein bars.
Mm,
I mean, I'm not going to name drop
but
because I
we
don't want
know.
to.
Oh, we
Yeah,
know. Don't worry.
we all know. I think we've all been there. So I was just so sick of eating them, and the ones that the products that I liked that tasted good, I came to find that they didn't work for my goals. Um, they were super sugar heavy. Just the macros were so off it wasn't even funny. But the packaging, the branding was super focused on sports and fitness and everything. So I'm like, oh great, this is perfect for me. Um, and when I started to dig on my own and see what I needed in order to get my body right, um, I found that none of them worked for me. So I started creating my own bars in my kitchen, and they're nothing like what the After Bar is today. I mean, they were so oily. I was trying to get like the right carb to protein ratio, and I'm not a food scientist. I'm not a very good cook. So anyhow, that's how it got started. And at the same time, I was taking CBD for social anxiety, for muscle recovery. A friend of mine who was training for the Olympic trials for women's rowing was taking it, and
Who?
she suggested it. Her name's Kelsey. I don't think we haven't really spoken, so I don't think she ever made
Oh,
it to the Olympics. But
okay. I worked
um,
with US rowing for a little while, so I know many of those athletes. So that's kind of interesting. I apologize.
okay,
Keep going
no,
though.
no, no, it's fine. Um, so basically, I just decided to put the two and two together. I mean, if I'm eating a protein bar post workout and taking CBD post workout, why not just wrap it into one? Because I didn't like the mouthfeel of the tinctures. Um, so I thought I can replace it in the bars, and that led to a really oily bar because the MCT oil. Fast forward maybe like a year later, this I decided I want to pursue this.
Well,
And
what
so
what was it that made you, like, understandably you want to do it for yourself, but what made you say, like, hey, this is cool for me, but how cool would it be if everybody else got this too? Because obviously you're more than one person that I'm sure takes CBD on a daily basis and eats protein bars on a daily basis, right? There is that
yeah.
crossover. But I guess what was like the catalyst to say, like, not only do I want to do this to help other people, but I actually want to do this and create a business out of it?
I think it was the fact that I knew there was nothing else like it on the market. And whenever I set my mind to something, it's like a train you can't derail, or it takes like a mile to get it to stop. So I'm like, oh, there's nothing else like this, and I know I can make a better protein bar. Maybe not by myself, but if I pull together the right team, I know this is something that I can succeed with, and bring to the world, because I know I'm suffering with chalky, grainy protein bars that either don't taste good or don't fit my macros. Um, I'm not the only one. So I decided to pursue it. Um, and from there, I brought on this incredible food scientist. Her name's Liz Thompson. Um, and she helped me to kind of draw out the different flavor profiles I wanted to have, and bring it to what it is now, which is a bar that is not only functional but flavorful, and it just kind of ticks everyone's boxes.
I love it, man. It's also pretty cheap too, right? Like it's not very expensive considering there's the CBD in it
Yeah.
as well. And, it has all these, macros and stuff that you keep talking about. So I guess explain like who is this for, right? Like this is a very specific person, I'm assuming, right? I mean, well, actually, let's take a step back. I
Mhm.
apologize. I'm still getting
No
good at
worries.
this thing. Not great at it yet. CBD. Obviously, it works really well for you. It sounds like. It sounds like it's something that you utilize and take advantage of. Hemp, non-hemp derived. So I am curious about that. But before we get to even that question, I'm already just loading these questions up for you, Blake. I hope you're
It's
excited.
okay.
Um,
Line
why
them
why
up.
why is CBD so hot? Like all of a sudden, like pot started to like be kind of socially acceptable, and then like you see a million CBD companies come on the market, and you can buy it at your local gas station, which I have, and it
Mhm.
sucks. Don't worry, I took the L for you guys on that one. But like, what is it about CBD, and why are so many CBD products coming into the market now, and being so readily available?
Because it's not hard to bring a product to market that requires little due diligence, little R&D, and I think that's why so many people jumped on board so soon and so early, and it kind of created this huge wild west of an industry. Um, so excuse me. I mean, you can source from so many of these uh, grow operations. Your oil, uh, your CBD oil, and then just label it. Just smack a label on it. So, I think it's a combination of ease of ability to get into the market, created a market that blew
Mhm.
up, as well as the fact that people thought they could just make really easy money off of it and not really put any care or, like I said, due diligence into it. Um, and because of that, I think that CBD has gotten, to some degree, a bad name. And we're here to switch to change that. With our partners, Pureform Global, who are the creators of Pureform CBD, the CBD inclusion that we utilize. Um, but yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's been quite a mess, and I think companies like Amazon and Target pulled CBD in early on, but because these kind of skeezy guys, or skeezy people, I'm not going to narrow it down to one gender or another, um, jumped in the market with just this half-assed product.
Mhm.
you know, the FDA sent them the FDA sent Amazon and Target letters saying, these products do not have, the amounts that they label it as. They include THC. This is a intoxicating substance. Pull it. So now the challenge is to reapproach them and say, like, look, I know you've been burned before, but here's a new product. Here's something new where THC is never even an option in it. Um, so yeah, I think we're just trying to reshape the
Yeah.
market.
Yeah, it is frustrating, right? Because I know so many people that do utilize it for the positives that come with it, right? Like there's so many
Yeah.
good things that come with it. It's not for everyone, of course. That's ridiculous to say, but it's definitely for a lot of people, and a lot of people can utilize it. And I have joint inflammation. I know it helps with
Mhm.
inflammation, and it really does help. My knees hurt all the time, but sometimes they don't when I utilize CBD, right?
Yeah.
And some people have a hard time falling asleep. Like I would rather take something that comes from a plant than some drug that some P&G or Johnson and Johnson's trying to push, right? So there's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways to utilize it, and I think it's really important. Now, so I had two more questions lined up. What exactly is the difference, or why do you utilize non-hemp derived CBD? And then I guess what's the difference between non-hemp derived and hemp derived outside of the fact that it's hemp, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So we use it because it's the safest, most reliable form of CBD on the market. Initially, we started with hemp CBD, but the lack of security that we had with so many of the vendors, um, it just didn't feel right. And serendipitously, we were introduced to Pure Form. So the difference between hemp derived and non-hemp derived or cannabis derived um, is that one, I mean the source.
Hmm.
um, so with cannabis or hemp derived CBD, you can do either ethanol or critical CO2 extraction, and with that, you get a lot of the other cannabinoids, and doesn't it's hard to isolate it into just CBD in its purest form. With that, um, we didn't want to take that risk.
Hmm.
So with pure form, it is derived from citrus instead of cannabis or hemp. And basically, the process they use is
You
called
said citrus, like lemons
yes,
and oranges and stuff?
yeah, yeah. So it's pulled from citrus terpenes, and so terpenes are the aromatic molecules or the molecules that dictate taste and flavor in citrus. So
No
they
way.
use that as a starting material, and then from there use a proprietary process to basically synthesize CBD. Sorry, my Siri keeps going off. um,
Siri CBD, I get that.
yeah, yeah, Siri. Yeah, I don't want to say it out loud again, um, but yeah. So they use proprietary process. I can't say too much
Yeah,
on
no,
it.
you're good. I don't need to know how it works. I was
Yeah,
just curious, like, so. I mean, as you said, it's more of its purest form in this sense. Now, I'll be the first person to say I had no idea you could derive CBD from like lemons, but I guess is there anything different outside of none of the other cannabinoids, as you said? No, obviously, no THC can get into it, which is
yeah.
great,
So
which we're very happy about, especially for
yes.
people that take drug tests. Shout out. I'm sorry, keep going.
Oh, I'm just going to say that. Yeah, I mean, there's zero chance of THC ever being included in our product. We don't use hemp protein either, so there isn't any possibility. I
Mhm.
mean, I was just talking to someone earlier about it, and the analogy that we're using is that a meteorite, like an act of God, a meteorite of pure THC would have to be raining down from the sky in order for it to ever be included in our product.
Uh-huh.
If that was the case, I'd be out with my tongue out.
Yeah, it would be a good day. I think we could all
Yeah,
have fun
right.
that day. I think everyone would
Yeah.
chill the hell out too, which would be kind of nice, which I think we all need. So that would be kind of cool. Okay, so that was one of my questions I had lined up. So that's really interesting. And then I guess it almost answers the next question I had is like, who is this product for, right? Because I've worked with athletes in the past, and I know many of them are terrified of taking CBD because there's a potential that the trace of THC is in there, and especially Olympic athletes, they lose everything if they get caught with anything, to your band, this, that, and the other, blah 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 blah.
Absolutely.
Obviously, now none of that can possibly happen. So, is this more of a kind of you and me type of product? Are you looking at athletes and trying to get this into the hands of professionals in that sense? Like, how are you looking to, I guess, market this product, and who's like the main demographic of people that are going to use it?
Yeah, I would love to say this product is for everyone. I mean, everyone can use it. However, you and I both know that that doesn't work on a marketing level.
Yeah,
The the
be pretty
amount of
boring. Yeah.
yeah, 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 just the
Mm.
afterbar for everyone doesn't really ring. It doesn't really chime well. But excuse me. But yeah, so we have two primary target demographics. One is like baby boomers because of CBD's incredible uses for arthritic pain, for comfort of life, and we see a huge market there. Especially, there's some other products on the market that have done exceptionally well with them, so we see them as a huge market for us. And then our other is the 18 to 25, young adult people who are really trying to kind of be as efficient as possible. So those are our two primary targets. And with athletes are a huge target for us as well. However, I'm sure you know the NSF is a bit of a challenge when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So, so we've approached the NSF, and of course, it's been taken off of the banned substances list, but they're not willing to sign off on on any form of CBD. With that being said, we've kind of circumnavigated the NSF in a little trick way, where instead of approaching the teams directly, we've approached the players. So we've gotten into the hands of the players. So we sent about 17, I want to say it was 17 MLB teams, master cases. So at least one master case, like 72 units, to their spring training. Was that last month?
Mm-hmm.
And the only negative feedback we got was we use almond butter. So we have, if you have tree nut allergies, unfortunately, right now you can't have the Afterbar. And the only negative feedback we got was, "Damn, I really wanted to try the Afterbar, but I'm allergic to almonds."
Oh, no.
Everyone else loved the flavor, the texture. We don't use, again, not grainy. It's not like this macerated mush. You can see the actual ingredients. You can see our inclusions. So yeah, we've done pretty well with getting it in the hands of athletes, but we're really hoping on the NSF to kind of change their decision or change their minds on it. So hopefully we'll see something in the next year or so.
Well, I'll cross my fingers for you guys. I think it is a pretty darn cool product. Excited to try it myself as well. Should be pretty fantastic. So I guess where talk to me a little bit more about the bar itself. Like what, you don't have to give us all the secrets, of course. Don't worry, Blake. We don't want them all. But I guess like what exactly is it? How did you come up with the blend? As you said, you use almond butter. Why do you use that over other things? Like talk to me. Like as you said, I can see it when I have it in my hand. Like, what am I going to see?
Yeah, I can rip one open for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I can see what is in the frame. So this is our antioxidant berry fusion. And as I said, like you can see, like I'm trying to get it to focus.
Yeah.
Like all our inclusions. So we have, oops, there we go. You can see a lot more inclusions than say with like a Cliff Bar or
yeah.
RX Bar. I don't think I was supposed to name drop, but
I'm not going to tell you.
So here's what that was our antioxidant berry fusion, and this is our dark chocolate cherry matcha. So as I said, you can see all the inclusions.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get this open. Yeah. So yeah, a lot more inclusive, heavy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so basically, we have three initial flavors, three initial SKUs. Dark chocolate cherry matcha, which is my personal favorite. Original Harvest Trail, which is more of like the Afterbar's take on a trail bar. Don't think like, you're dried out, typical trail bar, but and then we have the antioxidant berry fusion, which is like really antioxidant, superfood heavy, has goji berries, noni fruit, dragon fruit. And then we have 14 grams of protein in every bar using sachi inchi seed protein, which is the most protein dense plant-based protein on the market right now. So it's nearly as protein dense as whey. So we don't have to, pack so much, raw material that results in that, super grainy, sandy texture. So yeah, we're vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO, soy-free. And your question was how this kind of came to be. So like I mentioned earlier, Liz Thompson, she helped me kind of draw out all of the flavors, because I went into this knowing I don't want to create, the cookies and cream.
Right. Like, why are we eating? Yeah, exactly. That never made sense to me. It's like, here's something healthy. It tastes like Oreos. Like, no, those two things don't work together in my brain personally. I don't know.
See, for me though, it would be a hair off. Like it would never actually taste like an Oreo. It tastes like
if you left like a fake Oreo. Store brand, ShopRite brand Oreo, right?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, and having something super sweet after your workout every time, is which is not my cup of tea. So yeah, I wanted something really different and something that wasn't really on the market. And I love dark chocolate. I love matcha. I drink matcha every morning. And so I thought, this is such a great flavor profile why don't we put them together? The original Harvest Trail, I wanted something that was familiar and not too crazy, but I wanted to have our own take on it. So with that, we have pumpkin seeds, we have almonds, we have dates, and then we have for the antioxidant berry fusion. I wanted, antioxidant and superfoods is a super hot trend right now. I don't think it's really going away. So I thought, okay, we need to do like one that's super packed with superfoods, no pun intended. Um, and yeah, I mean I've been working on this project for 3 years, and from initial ideation, which was probably closest to the original Harvest Trail, to now having these three SKUs that are very different in flavor. All maintain a similar texture. Like I said, it's inclusion heavy. Um, but yeah, they all complement each other in a very nice way.
I love it, man. That is
Thank you.
awesome. And it takes 3 years. My goodness, I'm excited to hear a little bit more about that journey. But I guess more on the product itself. Like, what are best uses, best like best
Yeah,
practices when
best use
utilize
case.
like especially with the CBD in it, right? Because like people, especially if they've never taken it before, or if they've again taken the gas station kind like I have, where I was like, this is trash. Like, what are we doing here? How do you, I guess, recommend that people utilize the product?
Yeah, so we're initially, post workout. That's what I think is the easiest. Uh, it's We ensure that with our macronutrients, it's going to fit the desired macronutrient ratio for someone who knows what they're doing, who's working out consistently, is tracking their macros. It's 2-to-1 carb to protein ratio. Um, we also ensure to include with the dates natural sugars that are going to refill your glycogen or replenish your glycogen reserves post workout. And whenever your glycogen reserves are low, that's when you start to feel nauseous, kind of fatigued, dizzy, and that's never fun. Stumbling down the steps, leaving the gym. So that's primary use case is post workout. However, with the sheer size of the bar, we're a 68-gram bar, so pretty large. We are considered a meal replacement bar. So I personally eat one every single day at noon because I intermittent fast in the morning. And that's how I break my fast. So break your intermittent fast, perfect use case.
Hmm.
So other than that, I mean, or even, before bed, but I would say our primary two use cases are post workout and breaking your intermittent fast, especially with how we formulated it.
And so if you utilize the product in the two ways you said, does it make sense to have two in a day, or is that too much? That sounds like it
No,
might be a little much. No?
no, no. I mean, I eat probably 2 or 3 a day.
Well, they also sound
Yeah,
delicious. So I guess worst
yeah.
case scenario, it's a nice little snack, but
So you're not really hitting any sort of um, like threshold for too much CBD
mhm.
with until you're hitting. I mean, there's not really such thing as too much
Yeah.
CBD, but around like the 120 milligram point, that's when you start to use it for pain management rather than for like diminishing or mitigating anxiety for
Mhm.
muscle recovery. So really, I mean, you could eat 2 or 3 in a day. Personally, if you ate 2 or 3 in a day, I don't know if you'd want to eat anything else if you're that
Yeah, that
obsessed.
might be
Yeah.
much. That might be a bit much,
Yeah,
but
I mean, if you're eating 2 or 3 a day, like, I mean, hit me up, email me, and I'll send you like a whole case. I mean, from my mouth to your speakers or whoever's listening.
yes, yes. I love it.
Personally, contact me if you're eating 3 a day, and I will make sure you're stocked. Because that's a good amount.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a lot. Doesn't really sound like, as you said, you're eating too much outside of that either. So I think that is pretty interesting. So I
Yeah.
guess with the product, as you were talking about, you send it to some MLB players, right? I think
Mhm.
they're a fun group to send it to. I think MLB players have the best personalities because all they do is just sit around and BS all day. So they have the funniest stories. They're usually the funniest people. What I guess how else are you trying to brand around athletes? Again, as you said, like you can't go to the teams yet and have them utilize it, which I'm sure eventually that will happen. As we've seen, some of these dumb
Mhm.
laws are starting to like, oh wait, this was back in the 50s. None of this makes sense anymore. But like
Yep.
how are you are there any other groups of athletes you're going after, like the marathon runner, like anything like that where you can kind of work with these athletes and branding the product and getting more and more people to actually see and use and understand the value that the product brings?
Yeah, so I mean, with COVID right now, we can't do a lot of activation events, and we want to center a lot of those um, around races, around um, excuse me, around yoga activation events.
Mm,
But we did just sponsor. Um, we supplied the Bike to the Beaches Cycling for Autism event in Miami. It was a 100-mile bike ride from Miami to Isla Morada. Um, that was our first activation event. So we are trying to actively, pursue these, other sports. We've been sending them to NBA players. We've been sending them to NHL players. So we haven't really subjugated ourselves to one singular sport or one organization. Um, but with the recovery room that we're starting, and I know we'll get into that in a minute, we will be interviewing athletes and kind of getting their take on it,
I
on
love
how
it.
they've overcome obstacles in their lives and how that's supported where they are today.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, tell me more about the recovery room.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
already
So
we're already talking about it. Like,
yeah.
let's get into it.
So the recovery room is something we're building out right now. So you can find it on our website, theafterbar.com. And it is a resource for anyone to go to for mental health, physical health, sports nutrition, understanding nutrition facts, that kind of thing. We want to make sure that as a consumer, you're educated, and we're not just you're not just buying the bar from us, and we're saying, okay,
Mhm.
have a nice life. We want to support you on your fitness journey, on your wellness journey. From point A to point Z. So what we'll be doing starting next month is interviewing athletes, CEOs, influencers, and friends of mine, and friends of Etera Foods, on uh, the instances in their lives where they've had to overcome adversity and how those points led to where they are today. So personally, when I was 15, I lost my mom to cancer, and because of that, I'm not going to say it's a direct correlation, but without having to go through all of that and grow up so young, I don't think I would ever be in the position I am today. I mean, even Etera Foods is kind of in memoriam of her. So Etera is the inversion of the Socratic term, Greek Socratic term arete, which means to like continually better yourself, your education, and always just trying to kind of propel yourself forward. And I used that word to describe her during her eulogy, during the eulogy. Um, so that event, I mean, I'm sitting here today with you talking about the after bar, from Etera Foods, which is because of that, having to
Mhm.
go through all of that. And she was a great inspiration to me. And so it's stories like that. I know that there's, such a wide array of things we can talk about when it comes to overcoming adversity. Um, but stories like that are, I think, ones that people want to hear, not just the gilded success stories. I
Mhm.
want to hear about the nitty gritty you had to go through, and the kind of mucking um, through the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just go on Instagram, you'll find all the only success stories. Like, that's not really hard to find. But no, I think that's a great idea because
Yeah,
you are right. Like, so nobody has it that great, right? Like, nobody has it
yeah,
that perfectly. Again, that's Instagram's for what you want people to think, not what actually is. So I think it's really important
mhm,
for people to understand those stories. And as you said, especially with athletes, I've talked to and interviewed, well over 100 athletes at this point, and just the incredible adversity that they had to overcome, just the way sometimes the stars ended up aligning, the way things, unfortunately, there are many athletes that I talked to that made the Olympics, and in the event before, blew out their knee and never even got to go to the starting line, kind of thing. So like, there's
yeah,
so many stories like that, and you don't hear about them because
mhm,
when would you, right? Like, so it's unfortunate. So I really do love the idea for that, and I think that can not only just help the brand, but help the people that are going to become a part of this community. Because it's very clear
mhm,
you're very um, focused and thorough on, not just, as you said, here's this product. We believe it helps you because it helps me have fun. It's here's this product, but here are all these other things that we can help you with too, right? And I'm sure there's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many other things that you have lined up that are going to, the after bar is going to be a product of, Etera. It's one
Mm,
piece of this giant puzzle, and it already seems like you're starting to build that out, which I think is pretty incredible.
thank you. Yeah, we have our first guest is going to be Jeff Bannister, of the Pittsburgh Pirates and
Yeah.
the Rangers, and he has this incredible story, and I'm so excited to be able to have a discussion with him and share that with the world. Um, very very excited for that. But yeah, I agree. You go on Instagram, and I mean that was one of the whole reasons I started taking CBD was for social
Hmm.
anxiety, like I said. And I mean nothing's more anxiety inducing than these than the gilded success stories or certain body types that you'll find on Instagram. But I'll tell you what, living in LA, you'll come to find out that it's just gilded. Whenever you'll run into people in person or at
Uh-huh.
a event or something, and it's like, oh, okay.
So
It's
this
like I
is, oof.
yeah, it's like so yeah, so that's why it's important to focus on the reality versus the
Hmm.
idealized version, and that's what we want to really do is talk about the reality of life and overcoming adversity.
I love it, man. That is absolutely
Thank
fantastic.
you.
But I think that's about it for me. What are some of the plans that you can talk about coming up? Are there anything else that you're working on? Other flavors, new
So
products, pieces to that puzzle? What do we got, Blake?
yeah, yeah. So we have sorry, cut out there for a second because Siri keeps interrupting me.
You didn't
Um,
even say CBD that time. What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know. She really wants to be in this conversation. She's a little jealous,
I can't blame her.
but
We're having fun.
but yeah, yeah. So of course we're working on further flavors on expanding
Hmm.
this product line. But we have another product line coming out soon. So like I mentioned, Sachi Ichi seed protein. We're hoping to take that and develop it into further product lines that include Sachi Ichi seed. We think it's such an incredible protein. It's a complete protein, so it has all 9 essential amino acids, super protein dense, and the flavor isn't like the typical unpalatable.
Hmm.
So we throw in some more superfoods and a little bit of a Terra magic and um, natural magic. I'm not saying we throw anything
No, you're good.
artificial in
You're good.
there.
You're good. Don't worry.
But you know, we're gonna come out with some more products with that. We're really excited for that one because that's
Love it.
something that we're not just a CBD company. We're a sports nutrition company. Um, so these are products that the NSF can't shut close the door in our face on. um, yeah, I'm very, very excited about that. I wish I could tell you more, but
Eh,
I don't know who's listening and who wants to steal my ideas.
just you're just teasing us, and that's what we need.
Yeah,
You need to leave us on a little bit of a cliffhanger. But I think
yeah,
the product is cool. I think again the community that you're clearly trying to build, the lifestyle aspect of this. As you
mhm,
said, you're not a CBD company. This is a sports nutrition company. The CBD with the after bar is a piece, no pun intended, of that company. The
yeah,
recovery room is going to be a piece of that company. These other products and other ideas and other community aspects that you guys are clearly going to build and build very well are just pieces of this company, and that's how you're going to get people in. And say it, man, the Etera special sauce, secret sauce, whatever you want
yeah.
to say, we know it's like my grandma. She just adds more love to things, and somehow we can make it side by side. Hers turns out a million times better. So just add more love
Oh,
to it, man. That's
for
all it is.
sure, for sure. It's love. It's love, determination, and I want to say grit, but we're not a gritty protein bar. So
Good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
whatever.
like that. I like that. Just
Yeah,
don't let them see you.
no,
Well, where can we buy it? I can't wait to try it. So I'm very excited to snag some. So where can we buy
yeah.
it? Tell me your socials. You told people to email you in case they love it or don't love it, I guess. Feedback's always good. Give me all that stuff.
Absolutely. So you can buy online at theafterbar.com. It's also available on a few other e-commerce retailers on CBD Emporium and on Direct CBD Online. However, you're not going to get the whole shebang whenever you order from them. So for us, with your product, like I said, we want to support you on your fitness journey, your wellness journey, um, through and through. So we include workouts that on QR codes in our booklet that will
Nice.
change regularly. So yeah, we also on our YouTube, the After Bar, We post workouts on a weekly basis. So right now we have up a HIIT workout, a high intensity interval training, a yoga flow, and a 60-minute ab workout. And with that, on the 60-minute ab workout, I challenge you to do it because my trainer who filmed it the day before was doing some like basketball trick shot and landed on his ankle wrong, sprained it. And you can see in the video, like, and he's such a trooper. His name's Ash Scarrett. You can find him on Instagram at Ash Scarrott, Scarrott. His like one ankle is like significantly larger than the other. But he was like, the day of, we're like, you don't have to do this. And he's like, no, like, I'm going to do this. Like,
Love it.
And that's the kind of people that, are definitely part of our community, are those people who, even though like that hiccup of having a, really bad sprained ankle, happened. He's like, no, we're going through with this. We're doing it. It's hard. I do it all the time. I'm not as shredded as he is, but I challenge you to do it because it's good. So you can find us there on YouTube, on Twitter at _after_bar. Someone else took the after bar handle.
I assumed you didn't go for all the underscores, but hey, maybe.
No. And then on Instagram at the after bar, and we post the workout videos on there as well. Excuse me, it's linked. Where else? But yeah, mainly just the after bar, and you can email us at hello@eterafoods.com, with ETERA foods.com, for any feedback. I absolutely want to hear it. And if you're that diehard fan out there that's eating 3 a day, yeah, give me a call.
Sponsorship is in your future.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Blake, this is absolutely fantastic. Kudos, congratulations on everything, on the launch of the product. Very excited to try it. Good luck with everything. And I'm very excited to say, hey, is that Blake? Oh man, I remember him. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun day for me. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. I really appreciate coming on here and having this discussion.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.